At the lake in the forest, Ash's group just finished sitting around doing nothing before training, and nothing beats training like a mini tournament, right? Okay, so me and Paul will fight Jesse and James, then when we win I will fight Domino and Paul will fight Sarah. Then me and Paul fight? Asked Ash. Yay, what do you think? Domino asked Ash, but Paul answered. Seems good enough for me, I won't lose to you this time. Paul told Ash. Hey Cynthia, are you sure you don't want to battle? We could always change the rules. Offered Jesse. No, that's fine, I'll just ref. Cynthia told them. Wait, that's our jobs. The trio said together. Ash just sighed at them and told everyone to start the tournament. One-on-one battle and Ash versus Jesse. Begin. Cynthia announced, standing between Ash and Jesse. Survivor, let's go, said Jesse as her unusually large black snake appeared on the field. Her snake had purple patters, red fangs and golden color on its head. All right Survivor, I can tell it's stronger than yesterday. That's fine. I have someone who's been itching for a good fight. Floatzel, lend me your aura, Ash said as he threw a Pokeball. As the Pokeball popped open it revealed Ash's orange sea weasel, but twice as big and an inflatable sack around its torso also. Seeing Floatzel, Survivor hissed at the obviously strong opponent. Okay, let's start. Survivor Poison Fang. Jessie ordered her snake and its usually red fangs turned a toxic purple and launched at Floatzel. Don't let it get you Floatzel, as soon as it's close use Ice Fang. Ash countered as his Pokemon nodded. Floatzel's two front teeth glowed icy blue as he waited for Survivor's purple fangs to come closer. Now, Ash called. Just as he thought the Ice Fang struck and hit Survivor back to Jesse's side, but not like he thought. Survivor wasn't only stronger than yesterday, but faster too, and hit with the Poison Fang before being thrown back. Good job Survivor, use Flamethrower, Jessie said to her snake. Survivor obeyed and shot flames out of its mouth at Floatzel. Floatzel, send the flames back with a razor wind, Ash countered. At Ash's word the blue, flipper things glowed white, but they didn't fire anything, instead they grew bigger. Then he swiped them at the flames. Instead of absorbing it and changing razor wind's type, he just knocked the flames back. Survivor, get out of there and use Poison Tail, Jessie told Survivor, afraid of having a barbecued snake on her hands. Although Survivor dodged the initial blow it took a little damage. Then its tail turned purple and it took off towards Floatzel. Use Aqua Jet to dodge, then use Ice Fang, Ash told his orange Pokemon. Floatzel became surrounded in a veil of water, took off flying past Survivor and using Ice Fang. But not on Survivor, he used it to freeze the Aqua Jet. Ice Aqua Jet, I thought you needed an Ice Beam, Cynthia asked. Nope, I taught Floatzel Ice Fang so we could make it ourselves. Floatzel now, Ash answered her while ordering the Sea Weasel. Floatzel heard Ash and went faster, turned around and slammed into Survivor. Survivor, don't take that, Flamethrower, Jessie told her Pokemon. Once again flames were released from its mouth and going at Floatzel. Break through and use Water Gun, Ash told Floatzel, and Floatzel did as told and used Water Gun. The water cut through the flames and slammed into Survivor, finally taking down the snake-like Pokemon. Survivor is unable to battle, the winner is Floatzel and Ash, Cynthia told them. Now Paul and James were on the battlefield. One-on-one battle between Paul and James. Begin, Cynthia told them as ref again. Let's go, Carnivine, James said as his loyal and affectionate grass type appeared, not on the field, but on him. After James pried him away, Paul sent out his Pokemon. Finally, a challenge. Drapion, stand by for battle, Paul yelled as his poison, dark dual type showed up in a flash of light. I am not waiting, Carnivine, Bullet Seed. Just like Sceptile, a torrent of glowing green objects came from Carnivine. Use Iron Tail as a shield, Paul said as the usually purple tail on Drapion turned white and was put in between Drapion and the falling seeds. Paul's tactic worked and the Iron Tail whacked away the seeds with only some difficulty. Now Carnivine, Vine Whip. As he commanded, two vines were shot from Carnivine at Drapion and they wrapped around its claws. Drapion, pull it to you, As Paul said, Drapion moved its arms back and Carnivine was hurtling through the air at Drapion. Pull yourself into a bind attack. Everybody watched intently. Only when Carnivine wrapped around Drapion did they realize everything since the vine whip was panned. You've gotten better, James, I'll give you that, but it's not enough. Drapion, Poison Fang. Paul complimented and countered at the same time. Drapion's mouth glowed in a toxic purple and he bit into Carnivine, who released Drapion from bind. Don't let it recover. Pin missile. Then Drapion sent little white glowing triangles at Carnivine after taking the onslaught of a super effective attack, if couldn't get up. Carnivine is unable to battle. Drapion and Paul are the winners. Cynthia told the people again. Now with Ash and Domino on the field, Cynthia spoke up again. One-on-one battle between Ash and Domino. Begin. Altaria, let's go. Domino said as a dragon with blue skin surrounded in white came out. I know someone who will enjoy a challenge. Houndoom, lend me your aura. Ash said as a black dog with gray horns on its head and a brown underside appeared in front of Altaria. Altaria, Dragon Pulse. Just like Haxorus before, a purple orb appeared and shot. Houndoom, Dark Pulse. In front of Houndoom, an orb of dark energy appeared and the pulse attacks met and cancelled each other out. Houndoom Flamethrower. A torrent of flames was again produced, this time by Houndoom. Take it with Steel Wing. Altaria did as told and put its glowing wings in front of it. Like Ash does, the fire energy was absorbed into Steel Wings and the flamethrower was nullified. Now Flame Wing. Now with its wings glowing red, Altaria sped towards Houndoom, who didn't move away from the now fire type attack. Give them more energy, Houndoom, Flamethrower. As commanded, Houndoom shot flames, but the only thing that happened was Altaria's wings glowing brighter. Houndoom couldn't help but smirk as it realized what Ash was doing. Are you going to have me activate Flash Fire by letting me take that fire attack, boss? Ash laughed. Yes, that's exactly it. Why do you not feel comfortable with that? Because I'll change it. No, I am fine, I trust you. Just wondering, that's all. Hey, after I get my health back, can I try and use Overheat twice but keep the power the same? Houndoom asked. Let's just stick with one. We'll try two later. Okay, Houndoom takes the Fire Wing. Ash told his dog. Just like Ash thought, the fire type attack powered up Houndoom and Altaria was close enough to hit with. Overheat now, Ash said, and without missing a beat, Houndoom sent a white-hot beam of fire and flames towards Altaria. Altaria is unable to battle. Houndoom and Ash win. Cynthia said as again the people changed positions. One-on-one battle between Paul and Sarah. Begin. Cynthia spoke again. Espeon, I choose you. Sarah called as a purple cat-like creature came out with a purring sound. Okay then, Absol, stand by for battle. In another flash, a creature with white fur and a black face came out. Espeon, Psybeam. Then a rainbow-colored beam came from the gem on Espeon's head and right at Absol. Absol, Dark Pulse. Once again an orb of dark energy appeared and was shot. The dark pulse broke the Psybeam and Espeon couldn't dodge in time. Alright, Espeon, use Swift. Then Starts appeared and struck Absol, as you can't dodge a Swift. Don't give it time to get away, use Psyshock. Then white orbs appeared, circled Espeon, then circled Absol before crashing into it. Absol, combine Razor Wind and Water Pulse. Then instead of white crescents appearing, they were blue because they added a water pulse. With the combined power of Razor Wind and Water Pulse, Espeon couldn't get up. Espeon is unable to battle. Absol and Paul win. This is a one-on-one battle between Ash and Paul. Begin. Aggron, stand by for battle. Paul said as his large steel type appeared. Tyranitar, lend me your aura. Ash said as his equally large rock type appeared. Hyper Beam, shouted Ash and Paul. Then the two Pokemon gathered energy and shot an orange beams that collided in the middle. Metal Claw, Paul said as Aggron did as told and his fist turned into a metallic glow. Fire Punch, Ash said as Tyranitar did as told too as his fist was blazing with fire. The Metal Claw hit Tyranitar in its left cheek and knocked him back. The Fire Punch hit Aggron in its right cheek and knocked it back too. Aggron, create a ball of iron. Then Aggron used the metal from a Metal Claw to manipulate it into an orb. Tyranitar. Create a ball of rock. Then Tyranitar used the rock from a rockslide to shape it into the form of an orb. Fire. They both said as the orbs of metal and rock hurtled, not into each other, but grazing past each other and hitting the other Pokemon. Aggron. Double Edge. Aggron took off running. Tyranitar. Take down. Tyranitar ran at Aggron too. They collided in the middle again and the results were clear as day. Aggron and Tyranitar are unable to battle. This round is a draw. Cynthia said, watching Ash and Paul recall and thanks their fallen Pokemon. You recorded that on your decks, right? Paul asked. Of course, what's this, the 20th time we tied? Ash responded. Okay, well, it's getting late, almost time for your date, so let's go back to the hotel. Sarah told them. After all was said and done, the Rockets, Sarah, Paul, and Apom were all back in the hotel while Ash and Pikachu was in the lobby waiting for Cynthia. Ash, you don't have to let me be here. I'll go back to hotel, just says the word. Pikachu told his partner. Don't be ridiculous, you're my best friend. Besides that, you can help me with this romance stuff. And you can help us with any shadows that we see. Ash answered. Fine, I'll stay, but I promise you'll barely know I am here. Pikachu said. Before Ash could talk back, Cynthia came down the stairs, walked up to Ash and kissed his cheek. After they managed to stop blushing, they walked out of the center, arm in arm. Well, here we are. Ash said, leading Cynthia to a restaurant with the Sinnoh starters on a sign hanging in front of it. Ash, this is one of the fanciest places in Sinnoh, you really didn't have to. Cynthia said to her date. But I wanted to now, come on before we can't get seats. Ash said, walking up the steps. Ash, I am the champion, I always get seats. Cynthia said with a laugh. As they walked in, they attracted everyone's attention. Every guy admired Cynthia and glared at Ash, while the women glared at Cynthia, wishing they were where she was. As their waitress led them to a table, Cynthia could swear she heard he mutter something about, lucky bitch, and, should be me. As she left, Ash and Cynthia talked, mostly about what Ash was doing over the last 5 years and where he was. Next, the same waitress came back, but she obviously made herself up and changed her hair, trying to impress Ash. Just a cheeseburger will do. And could I have some ketchup, please? Ash told her while trying his best not to sound nervous at her close proximity to him. Coming right up. What about you? She said with a harsher tone. Although speaking to Cynthia, she never moved away from Ash. The same, please, Cynthia said, trying to control her obvious jealousy. Then the waitress left, not before winking at Ash and walking away with her hips swaying. Cynthia would have lost it if not for Ash holding her hand. After they finished their meal and Pikachu finished his condiment, they left the restaurant with Ash paying for everything and Cynthia dragging Ash and Pikachu away from the still glaring waitress. Can you believe her? She was all over you. Cynthia yelled as they got far away enough from the restaurant. Take it easy. Those guys in there weren't exactly happy either. Ash told her. Yeah, well, none of them tried to literally come between us, Cynthia said, referring to the fact that she never left Ash's side at the table. It's okay, Cynthia, I don't like her, I like you. Ash said, trying to comfort her. With that, she sighed contentedly and laid her head on Ash's open shoulder. That's the way to do it, Ash. Now take her to the park and watch the sunset. Pikachu told him. Where'd you head that at, buddy? Ash whispered to his yellow friend. I saw it in a movie once. Sure, both the main characters were attacked, but what are those odds? Pikachu said back, and Ash quickly answered with. Pretty good pie. In case you haven't noticed, this is me we're talking about. That's when Cynthia heard him. What was that, Ash? She questioned. I said let's go to the park. He told her while winking at Pikachu, who smiled back, happy to be of service. As they got to the park, they sat on the ground and looked at the sunset. Ash sat there with Cynthia leaning against him and Pikachu in his lap. The sunset's the most beautiful thing, isn't it? Cynthia questioned him. Pikachu was about to speak, but saw Ash ready to answer and figured, he's got this, and curled back up. Almost. Ash said with admiring her. Cynthia got the hint and blushed immensely, unconsciously leaning closer to Ash. Ash saw this and leaned closer too. It didn't take long for their lips to meet in the middle. A kiss full of passion was the only thing Pikachu could describe it as. Millions of feelings and thoughts were going through Cynthia's head. Feelings like happiness because he liked her, excitement because he was kissing her, relief because he was still here, with her. After what felt like an eternity, they separated, only to breath. Wow, they both said together. After they were done blushing, Ash wrapped his arm around her shoulders, pulling her closer while she led it against him, content with the way this evening went as they finished watching the sunset. After the sun was set, Ash and Pikachu walked Cynthia home, while before she went into her room she spoke. "Thank you for a wonderful date," Cynthia said as she pecked his lips. She went to pull away, but Ash put his arm on her waist, holding her there. She had no problem with this, and he responded by reaching her arms around his neck, deepening the kiss further. After another eternity, they separated once again because they needed to breath. They both smiled as Ash spoke. "I say we do this again soon. How's the day after tomorrow, same time?" Ash asked, unable to stop smiling. "It's a date. See you then, sweetie," Cynthia teased as she pecked his lips again and went back into her room. As she was safely on the other side of the door, she led it against it and slumped down to the floor with a content sigh, holding her hand over her heart. Ash wasn't much better. He couldn't stop smiling on the way back to his room, and he just couldn't wait for his second date. Also, he loved being able to call the Cynthia Sharona, his girlfriend. Pikachu couldn't stop smiling either, but that was for two reasons, the first being he had ketchup, the second being his best friend finally found love. As he got back to his room, he found everybody asleep. So he just went to his room, careful not to wake Sarah, Apom and Eevee, as he and Pikachu finally went to sleep too. Ash woke up the next morning early, eager to train and make sure he didn't lose to his unbeatable opponent. He could already tell this would be the toughest match yet, at least until he fought Paul. As Ash and Pikachu walked out of the room, with Apom and Eevee running around his feet, he saw his family sitting in the kitchen. Domino was sitting at the counter in the disguise the trio gave her. It was just a brunette wing with a yellow hoodie and blue jeans. The sunglasses were Wobbuffet's idea. Sarah was on the other side of the counter petting her Espeon. Paul was sitting on the counter by the sink, wondering who he should use to battle against Volkner, other than Torterra. He finally decided to use Torterra, Aggron and Electivire. Jesse, James and Meowth were sitting at the table playing a guess cards again. They were playing solitaire this time. "Jesse, seriously, you can't put the red 6 on a red 7. Whether they're both diamonds or not," James shouted. "I don't care whether they're diamonds or pearls, rubies or sapphires or emeralds and platinum, anything to end this game." Jesse yelled back. "Why do we even bother?" Meowth asked James, who just shrugged. After that, the trio switched from solitaire to crazy eights until Ash decided it was time to go to his battle. As they arrived, Ash and his group, excluding Paul, went onto the field. The Rockets and Sarah went into the box behind Ash while Paul went into the stands with Cynthia, and they sat next to Ash's traders, ready to show off for Ash. Ash stood on the field with Pikachu and Apom on their respective shoulders while Eevee was with Sarah. That's when Ash saw his opponent. He was a guy who looked to be about 20. He had brown hair that matched his eyes and he wore a blue coat that was zipped up all the way, except for a little triangle at the top, revealing a bright red undershirt. His bangs were to black that they almost blended in with the Zoroark he was petting, before he recalled it and came onto the field, waiting for the ref to start the match. "This is a 3-on-3 match between Joey from Unova and Ash from Kanto. Begin," said the ref. "Flame, fight with me," yelled Joey, as he called out an Emboar that was surprisingly just as big as Ash's was. "Crawdont, lend me your aura," Ash said as his dark-type lobster came out, ready as ever. In the box, Sarah asked Domino a question, as Jesse, James and Meowth went back to their game. Their exact words were, "Let us know when Infernape makes an appearance." Ash knows he can't afford to screw around, right? This kid won the Unova League the year before Iris. Just because it was 2 years ago doesn't mean he didn't get better. At Sarah's question, Domino just shrugged as they turned back to the battle. "Flame, roast that crabs with an Inferno." At Joey's word, Flame, released a swirling flame towards the water, dark type. Crawdont, we aren't going to let him call you that, are we? Bubble Beam. Ash told his Pokemon as the bubbles appeared. What happened surprised everyone. The bubbles went through the hole in the inferno, so instead of stopping the attack, both Pokemon were hit. With minimal difficulty from both Pokemon, their trainers continued. Flame. Do a flame charge. With that, Emboar took off like a bullet surrounded in fire. Crawdont. Water pulse and hit it with Crabhammer. Then a blue circle of water appeared in front of the crab-like Pokemon, but instead of shooting it straight away, Crawdont powered up a Crabhammer and used its glowing fist to send the water pulse at the flaming boar. When the water pulse hit, it didn't send Emboar back, however. It just put out the flames, so Emboar was forced to go into a takedown. Crawdont. Bubble Beam at the wall. As bubbles once again came from Crawdont, this time they hit the wall and propelled the water crab at the fire boar. As they collided, their trainers gave another command, knowing their Pokemon would only be able to take one. Heat Crash. Surf. The Emboar was surrounded in a ball of fire and took to the air. At the same time, a tidal wave of water picked up the crab and was heading towards the floating fireball. Then the fireball moved and hit Crawdont, but in the process crashed into the wave. After the steam cleared, everybody wasn't all that shocked. Both Emboar and Crawdont are unable to battle. Send out your next Pokemon. Emboar. Thank you. Take a rest. Okay now. Jolt, fight for me. Joey said as he threw out his electric evolution. Crawdont, you were awesome, have a nice rest. Aipom. Lend me your aura. Ash said as his purple Pokemon happily hopped off his shoulder and onto the battlefield. Jolt. Use Thunder. Joey commanded as Jolteon launched a thunder attack towards the monkey. Aipom. Swift on the ground. Then Aipom swiped her tail towards the ground, sending out little stars. The force of the stars hitting the floor sent Aipom high into the air, successfully avoiding the thunder. Now use Swift again. And then more stars came from the airborne monkey's tail and hit Jolt, despite his best attempts to dodge. Jolt. Don't take that. Magnet Rise. Then using magnetic properties, Jolt was in the air with Aipom. Good, now send it Thunder. And again a yellow burst was heading at Aipom. Ash silently cursed the fact that he couldn't dodge and he had to use his secret weapon so early. Aipom. Mimic. Other than the gasps from the crowd, they only heard electricity crackling again before coming off Aipom and the huge bolts beat in the middle. As the smoke cleared, both Aipom and Jolt landed, panting. Not so much because of damage, but because of launching so many attacks. Jolt. Double Edge. Then Jolteon took off, going to throw its body weight on Aipom, but Ash was ready this time. Aipom Swift and then Focus Punch. Ash told his faithful monkey. Then a barrage of stars hit Jolteon. Other than slowing him down, they didn't do much. It was the focus punches that hit that sent them both flying apart. Jolt broke through a rock and fell to the ground, defeated, while Aipom used her tail to bounce off a rock flip and land on her feet. Panting heavily but otherwise okay. Jolteon is unable to battle. The winner is Aipom. Send out your last Pokemon. The ref told Joey, who praised Jolt before saying, "It's up to you now. Zoroark, fight for me." Joey said as he called his illusion Fox. Okay. Aipom, Focus Punch. Then Aipom's fist on its tail turned white once more, before she charged the dark type. Zoroark, Focus Blast. Joey yelled as Zoroark shot a ball of energy at Aipom. Aipom switched to Iron Tail and take it. Instead of just its fist glowing, its whole tail turned white, held off the Focus Blast and changed Iron Tail's type to fighting. No matter how many times the crowd sees it, they're still amazed. Even more so seeing Aipom's Iron Tail become a fighting type attack and getting a super effective hit on Zoroark. Zoroark, bite it and throw it. Then Zoroark bit Aipom's tail. She winced as she was thrown back to Ash's side of the field. In pain, but she got up anyway. Focus Punch again. Ash called as Aipom again charged Zoroark. Grass Knot and Focus Blast. Then Aipom tripped over the grass and was hit with the circular attack that effectively knocking her out. Aipom is unable to battle. Zoroark wins. Send out your last Pokemon. Ash picked up Apom and took her back, and he laid her on the ground next to his feet with words of thanks. Typhlosion, lend me your aura. Ash said as he once tiny and timid Cyndaquil appeared, but this time as a huge and ferocious Typhlosion. Zoroark, night days. But before the ominous attack hit, Ash countered. Heat wave. Heat wave broke through the tired Zoroark's attack and hit Zoroark. Zoroark, dark pulse. Then a familiar orb of dark energy was thrown at Typhlosion. Quick, flamethrower. Then a familiar torrent of fire once again broke through the exhausted Zoroark, knocking him out. Zoroark is unable to battle. The winner is Typhlosion and Ash, announced the ref. They shook hands and walked to the Pokemon Center together. But Ash heard Paul yelling something like, if he cheats, how'd he beat you? And he'd win anytime, anywhere, any rules. Ash just yelled for him and Cynthia to come on. After a visit to the Pokemon Center, Ash's group and Joey went back to the lake to celebrate Ash's next opponent.